This is going to be the best show ever. Good morning, everybody. It's Positive Tuesday today, January 25th, 2022. Obviously, as you can see, Cruisey is joining us today. That was awesome. Seriously, that was just great. Absolutely love it. From Barron County is Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald. I'm Ben Dryden, and you're watching Positive Tuesday, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With nearly 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business has provided quality work in roofing, garages, siding, window installations, kitchen and bathroom remodeling, vinyl and hardwood flooring. They can even build your house or business from the ground up. That's sick. Like Fitzy and I, Professional Exteriors and Interiors believes that it's the little things that make a big difference. So give them a call today, 715-520-2271. We've made a few technical changes to our show in hopes that it addresses some of our live streaming issues that we've kind of been facing recently. So hopefully there won't be too much of an issue today. And if there is, we'll keep working on it little by little each week until we get that resolved. But when it's finished, you can always watch the recording of this on our website or on our YouTube channel. As you can see, Fitzy and I are being joined by Northwest Wisconsin's very own Chris Cruisey. If you don't know who Chris Cruisey is, stick around. I don't think you're going to regret it. Fitzy, good morning. How are you?
Morning. I think it's nice that Karen wants me to sing already. I thought that was pretty nice that she wants me to sing Hallelujah. So,
all right, go ahead.
I'll leave it to the experts. He lets me shoot the gun, and I'll let him keep singing.
Perfect. Cruisey, good morning.
Perfect. Good morning.
How's it going? First of all, I love the fact that you have a microphone. Boy, I sure wish everybody had a microphone.
I have one. You just couldn't get it to work.
All right. Good excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we always like to start with something that has been kind of positive in our lives or things that are going on. Fitzy, I'll start with you. Obviously, it's only been a week for us, but give me something positive that's going on in your life.
Ooh, I just think 2022 is starting off pretty good. We're just a good, pretty quiet, solving a few cases around the sheriff's department and nothing. Pretty quiet weekend. It's really cold, so everybody just stay warm. And but otherwise, I don't got a lot going on. So it's been
nothing.
Pretty good.
No hockey with the kids or anything.
Hockey is tonight. We play the number 2 team in the state, Eau Claire Memorial. So be a tough matchup for the Warriors tonight, but we should do pretty good. We go up to Hayward on Friday, take on our rivals up there. So. We'll see what we can do.
Cruisey, do you? So I'm referring to you as Cruisey, so I don't get mixed up with the Chris's.
Yeah.
Do you follow hockey at all? Local hockey?
Not too much. I watch my nephews play in Barron. 6 years old and then 9 years old.
Aw.
And but my 9-year-old nephew is like his mom is like a super athlete, and so he's got some really good genetics, and he's just naturally good at everything he tries, it seems like.
I hate those people.
Great, you hate a 9-year-old. Good, that's good for the ratings.
Yeah, there you go. Positive. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you. So first, I was watching obviously football. It was just a great weekend, and I have a stat I want to ask you about. But I do have a positive, and actually, it was last night. Cruisey and I did. It was just supposed to be a 2-minute long test run because first time he's been on the show, so send him a link. And I don't know how long that was. Cruisey must have been like a half an hour. We ended up chatting. It wasn't for like, hey, this is what we're going to talk on the show. It wasn't that. It was just a test for technical stuff and audio and video. And we ended up talking for a half an hour. And I'm not kidding. I finished with a huge smile on my face. And you're such a down-to-earth person and humble. It was great. I'm not kidding. It really put a smile on my face. And I woke up this morning knowing that you were going to be on. And I was like, man, I can't wait. So that really was. And it's not just because you're the guest today. Because I don't say that about Mike Schaefer. But that was really a huge positive for me. So I appreciate our chat last night.
I appreciate that. Yeah, your check will be in the mail for saying that too.
Yes. So on that note, real quick, before we have a couple things to get to, press release from the DA's office down in Barron regarding that buggy crash. And then a couple quick hits here. But did you guys, Cruisey, do you watch football, NFL football?
I'm 100% what you would call not. I don't know if it would necessarily be a fair weather fan. I just I'll watch it if I don't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching it. I've gone to several games at Lambeau. It's a lot of fun. But I won't block off an entire Sunday because the Packers are playing.
Well, that was great. So here's a stat, actually. You know what? I didn't write it down, but I think I remembered. I saw this morning on SportsCenter. So it went to overtime, that Chiefs-Bills game.
I did watch that one.
Yeah, so that was just sick. The whole game was just incredible. And a lot of people are calling for changes in the overtime rules for playoffs in the NFL. So of the 11 games that have gone to overtime in the NFL in the playoffs, since that new playoff rule was put in place, 10 of the 11 teams that won got the coin toss, the first one. And 7 of those 10 were on the first drive. So a lot of people are calling for, we need to revisit that, because it's not fair, which, whatever. Fair's for kids at Christmas time.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts? Fitzy, let me ask you, what is your thoughts? Do you think they should change that rule?
Yeah, I think they should. I think it's, I don't know. You should win it in the regular game. I mean, there was opportunities for both teams to win games. All 4 games all weekend were very, very good. I mean, even though the Packers lost, I mean, they had a good first drive and that was it. But there's a lot of questions for the Packers, but I do think they should change it and give everybody a chance to get the ball at least once.
Okay, whatever. Cruisey, what about you?
I think, I don't know, there's a million different ways you could probably do it, but So right now, is it if they kick a field goal, you get a rebuttal?
No, so the first drive, if you score a touchdown, game's over.
If you score a touchdown.
If you score a field goal or nothing, the other team gets the ball and they get a shot.
So, I mean, they could do it if you score a touchdown and go for 2 and get it or something. I mean, I don't know.
Something, yeah. All right, so let's get to, real quick, the press release. You had mentioned this last week, Fitzy, on the show, that there was going to be something coming out, and it came out on Wednesday. Our headline was, plea agreement reached in fatal truck versus Amish buggy crash. If I recall, there's 13 different things, but I think they recommended 6 months in jail, but that was stayed.
Correct. And
it was, I think, 2 years of probation, followed by 13 things about the probation. Basically gets 5 days in jail.
Correct.
You must have known that before, but when you did find out about this, what was your first thoughts? Were you like, okay, that's okay?
No, obviously, I think we put a lot of time and effort into that case, but in working with Dia Wright and the family, this was a request that came from the family. And you have to respect the wishes of the family in this case 100%. And we can learn a lot from the Amish community. I've learned a lot from the Amish community. I consider them friends now. It's been special. And I think the victim or the suspect in this case has learned a lot too. I think he's hopefully will do some good things in life to make up for whatever is going on. But Judge Bitney said a great thing. He said, we're all going to take some heat for this because this looks like a pretty good deal for you, to the suspect. But at the wishes of the family, D.A. Wright and Judge Bitney both granted the wishes of the family and gave him the minimum sentence that was allowed, which is 5 days in jail for the OWI second. They had said they forgave him. They didn't even come and, as a victim family, you get to come and testify at the hearing, and they didn't even testify because they had forgave him. And, we talk about the little things make a big difference. And in this case, this is a huge thing that hopefully will make a big difference in that person's life, and he'll go on and do great things with that opportunity. So, no, I know people don't like it. I know people are upset about it, but I think if in my heart, if I could do it, and I don't know that I could do it like they do it, but man, I learned a lot from them, and it's a pretty special relationship that they have. out there in that community, and so we're going with the wishes of the family.
Well, and that's just it, right? So when I saw it, it was like, okay, this cannot be right. This absolutely. When I'm reading this press release from the DA, I'm like, no, that's what? Fight? Are you kidding? Someone's dead.
Right.
But who am I to say? Because it's the wishes of the family. Because really, that's all. I think the biggest thing or the biggest takeaway there is, what does the family want? I mean, if it were me and like my child died, I wouldn't want the court to send him to prison. Like I would want to dish out the punishment. But it's me, it's my family, and if the family this is what they wanted, then okay. It's weird, but I have no problem with it if that's what the family wanted. Cruisey, I don't know if you were paying or watching or heard about that, had seen any of that information. You live in Barron County. This is kind of Amish country. There's a lot of those pockets in Northwest Wisconsin. When you saw that, were you like, yeah, that's okay?
I honestly, I didn't really know much about it until now. I live like in Amish country, so I mean, it's every day you gotta really watch out, because on these back roads here on D, it's like up and down curves, and then you come up over the crest of a hill, there might be an Amish buggy going 5 miles an hour, and so, but you just it's one of those things you gotta watch. You gotta be careful.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so I want to get to two more things real quick here, Fitzy. Barron, somebody asked me this last week, and I forgot to ask you. I put up the booking reports for all 6 counties this morning, and that's what jogged my memory. And in the Barron County bookings, they'll have their name and et cetera, and then there's underneath charge. Well, obviously, law enforcement doesn't charge people. They arrest people. DA's office is the one that charges people. But some of them don't have anything in there. What is the reasoning for that?
We're housing for other counties. So it's just a housing, and they're not charged in Barron County, or they're not being held on any charge in Barron County. So that's why it says that.
Got it. And then also I put up yesterday that Governor Evers, Wisconsin governor, fishing opener, he's going to be in Washburn County, I think on Shell Lake.
Dave Wilson's area.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. I don't think I have my dinger at home because I'm doing this from home for the first time. Yeah. Ding.
We have a ding. Anytime we say Dave Wilson is the chief of Shell Lake, Chris. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think maybe. I do have it. Yeah.
We have a dinger.
And first of all, there were some. I looked at some of the comments on our Facebook page when we put that up, and holy cow, people relax. Like, no kidding. That was just some mean-spirited stuff. It's like, who? Anyway, that's enough.
Coming here to go fishing, which is good for the community.
No kidding.
Good for tourism. I don't care who comes, but it doesn't.
It really doesn't. The only reason I'm even bringing this up is because have you called down the governor's office and gotten him to come on?
Yeah, I'm waiting for a call back.
Okay.
These people are calling my people.
Yeah. Cruisey, do you get into politics at all?
None.
Attaboy.
Zero.
You must have a very stress-free life.
I just play music.
Attaboy.
I just want to play music. I mean, of course, everyone's got their...
He votes for his favorite sheriff, but that's about it.
Yeah, right. Everyone's got their views on politics, and honestly, I don't have the knowledge of politics to even argue anything, so I stay completely out of it.
That's the way to go. Okay, so...
But what I will add... Chris is a huge supporter of law enforcement. He's worked with a lot of canine dogs. I mean, that's where we first met. It was when he was working with the canine dogs.
What do you mean working with the canine dogs?
Well, putting on the suit and letting them bite my arm is what he means.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So he is a big supporter of our department and of law enforcement in general, and he really enjoyed that, putting on the suit and let the dogs bite him.
Super fun.
And yeah. I have to ask, why did you do that?
I mean, you'll never know what it's like if you don't. I think the first time I put a suit on, I was actually in the Middle East with the military. They had some military dogs, and they were doing stuff, and they asked if anybody wanted to put the suit on, and I was like, well, of course I do.
Duh. So on that note, so I saw that you do a lot of shows in support of or for our troops. But before we get into that, for people who don't know you, when they see Chris Cruisey, like either maybe they've heard of you or it's, I'm sorry, who now?
Yeah.
Give us a quick bio, catch us up about your story.
Oh man, I mean, I guess born and raised Barron, Wisconsin. Um, Left, went to college for music. Thought I was gonna get out of this small town and I'm gonna go live this big city life, and which
Yeah.
is great for a lot of people. I just can't do it. I found out in a hurry. Came back and just started pursuing music, and playing as much as I could.
How old were you when you came back to Barron County? That's where you live, right?
Yeah,
So you came back. How old were you when you came back?
21.
21. And you started. You said started playing music. Like, did you go to? I don't know. Were you in a band? Was it just you?
Well,
in
yeah, I started playing, like, it wasn't very often, but I mean, I played in the bars starting at age 13.
Fitzy, what? You got to go and arrest that dude. You can't be in a bar at 13.
Mom and dad were with. So we're
Mom
good.
and Dad are with them. So Wisconsin, you can do that.
Yeah,
Oh, Wisconsin.
but I mean, that's really the only place. Kind of, unfortunately, maybe not.
That's
It's a good place to kind of cut your teeth. I know that's cliche, but you have to start somewhere, and that's really the around here. I mean, you're not going to go play theaters when you don't have a following. You got to gain that.
Yeah.
And
So
I
you were
did
doing that since you were young, and at
Yeah.
21 you came back. And was it a aha moment? Was it I think I want to do this for a living, or like I just had another job too, and I just kind of did it for fun, and I kind of fell into other stuff.
No, I mean, it was. I really didn't have a backup plan. It was either that or bust. So,
Wow.
um,
Well, when you're all in, I mean, I think that kind of drives you a little bit
Yeah.
more because it's okay. This better freaking work because if not, I got
I think
nothing.
I think the biggest thing, when I graduated from a music school, it's a private school, super expensive, and 6 months after I graduated, I was back here, and student loans kicked in, and it's like, oh, time, I gotta
I
I
gotta
gotta
pay
go.
those. Right.
Yeah, like we gotta get something going here. And so I went to Walmart and bought one of those big paper calendars,
Yeah.
and I just started. I would like go on my phone or computer, and I would just Google live music Wisconsin, and I'd just see what came up, and I'd just start cold calling all these places.
Wow.
And within a couple weeks, I had 150 dates booked for the year.
Well, yeah. So at this point, you don't have like a team of people.
No,
It's just you.
yeah, it's just me
Yeah. And
calling it. I mean, probably 10 places would say no before you'd get one yes. And if I got really lucky, when a place said yes, it'd be a lot of times it was, well, let's just do it once, see how it goes, and if we like it, then we'll book it again. But sometimes I'd get lucky, and they'd be like, we'll book you once a month for the year. And
But-
so, I mean,
Sure, that wasn't until after you've gone and played. So how long did you do this for? Those calling places and establishing yourself. How long did you do it for, and when did you feel as though, okay, like now they're asking me, I put in the legwork, but now they're starting to call me and ask me to come back?
I did that for 7 years.
Wow.
And I got to the point where I was doing 250 to 275 nights a year.
And no, okay, so clearly this is not all in Barron County. There's not even that
No.
many places. So how far did you travel? What was your area that you did?
I mean, it wasn't huge. It was like, from here out to the cities, Hudson, Hammond, Baldwin, Turtle Lake at the casino sometimes, a little bar over there too. But things were different in that scene. We're talking 10 years ago. I feel like, I don't know, I haven't been to the bar in a long time, but I feel like the bars, like that whole thing was a lot busier then. And so,
Right.
there was times when I would play in Barron, I would play at Skippy's on a Friday night and play at Fifth Street on Saturday night and have a full house both nights, so you could get away with a lot. And then places like Gilligan's in the summer, I'd play 4 times a week at Gilligan's and have different people each show because of all the tourism.
Yeah, and that's where you made your name in Barron County. Everybody knew because you could be followed. You can go to 3 different bars in a week and see Chris, and that's where and he was the guy back then, and still is the guy. But that's what made it so awesome. And you're right, bars are way different now. They don't have a lot of that. I think that's starting to come back a little bit. So, and I think what's cool about your story is it gives hope to a lot of other people, and we're always about giving hope. And I think you probably see that. I'm sure you probably get a lot of questions from up and coming musicians of how did you do it? And like you said, you put in the work. Was it fun working 250 nights of the week, a year? But
No.
that's pretty impressive. I mean, it's impressive to
Yeah.
stay with it that long and to continue to do and see the success that you've had. And it's awesome for other
I've,
people.
I've still got some of my old like calendar books. I started out with those big flat paper calendars that you put on your desk, and then I went to Office Max or Office Depot. Which one was in Rice Lake? I can't remember.
Max, Office Max.
Yeah. So I went there, and they had these fancy like leather bound calendar books, and so I
Wow.
started buying those. Splurging on the $80 book for the year, and so I've still got I think 3 years worth of those. And looking back at it, I'm like, I don't think I could do it.
Yeah. Again, right.
Yeah.
So now most people know you for something else, The Voice.
hmm
Where does that fall into your journey?
Man, I mean, so it was 3 years ago now, and which is crazy, but
How did that all come to be? Was it, once again, you just kind of cold calling, or you looked at it and going, man, I know what I want to do? Did you send it out to like like tons of different places and hoping somebody will? How does it work? Like, I don't think most people
it's all
do
there's
this.
a bunch of different ways you can do it. For me at the time, I was playing 250 plus nights a year when that happened, and so when you're playing that much, like, it's hard to really look ahead to the future because I'm constantly like looking, okay, this is what's next month, this is what's coming up, and making sure, oh, I've got a couple dates to fill in August yet, and thinking about like the kind of the short immediate future rather than the big picture. It's tough to. I got to a point where I was making a living where I could feed my family and afford to live, but it's really hard to jump up a level because you get into this routine, and to jump up a level, you have to take a risk. And I really couldn't afford a risk because if it didn't work, then, I had kids and a wife, I mean, it's not like I was just a single guy.
Yeah.
And,
Real quick, before you go on there, real quick, your wife throughout this whole thing, was she like, okay, here's the thing, buddy. I'm going to give you 6 more months. And if we don't start seeing some more revenue or some consistency here, you're going to have to go work anywhere. Or was
Never.
she the whole time, man, I got you?
Yeah, no, I got lucky. I mean, this is what I did when we met too, So, I mean,
Oh, sure.
it's kind of always been, but yeah, when the voice thing came up, it was, I was playing a show and I got a phone call during the show and it was a California number, and I had my phone on my mic stand, like reading lyrics for songs, and my phone rang and it was a California number, and I was playing a show, so I swiped it away, and they left a voicemail after the show. It was a producer from The Voice inviting me out to be a part of the blind auditions.
How in the world did they even know what number to call? How did that? I'm sorry, I got to know. How did this come to be? How did they know about you?
So I had started. I had played a couple of shows with a guy. He's actually my lead guitar player now. His name's Eric Warner, and he played a lot with a girl named Kat Perkins, and she had been on The Voice prior to me. She's from Minneapolis, and so she had some connections there. And I didn't really know at the time how this all went down, but like they had sent some videos in, and then like the producers will scan through YouTube and check your stuff out, and see if you're kind of be a good fit for the show.
Sure.
And so that's kind of how that went. There's different ways. They do this tour where they do open call auditions all over the country, and so there's that way. And then you can send video submissions in, and sometimes they just they're hunting for people.
Sure.
And it was just initially it was like I'm not going to be able to do it because if you I had to fly out there June 3rd, and the blind auditions weren't until like the end of June, like the last day of and so I mean, so I'm talking, okay, so a month in California, which they pay for your hotel and stuff, so you don't have expense, but I'm also not making money,
right?
And so like, yeah, it was tough. So I mean, prior to going out there, I worked as much as I could and banked as much money as I could.
Did
so
you
that
have any trepidation at all? I mean, was that obviously it was a discussion with you and your wife and decide, okay, we're going to do this because it could be something? Or
I
was there at
initially
any
said,
point where you're like, like it was a really tough decision, or was it, nope, I don't care if it's a month out there and we're not going to have any money for the next, month or so. We're totally doing, I mean, was it difficult to make that decision?
it's super difficult. I mean, initially, my initial reaction was just no. I'm like, well, it's not realistic. I can't, I have to have my steady income so that we can pay our bills and do all this. We were looking at, like, we were starting to save money for buying a house, and it's like, so I mean, we had a little bit of savings, but I mean, completely drained it in the process in the hopes that it would work out in the end, but you don't know. And so, I mean, it was a huge risk. And, my wife was a big part of me going out there. She said, I think that you'll regret it if you don't. So we did that. And my son was 1 at the time, 1.5. And so, I was out there, I went out there June 3rd. I came back after the blind auditions, after I made the team. I came back for 4 days in July and then went back out to LA. And then I came home, I think, for a week in August. And then I went back out there. And then after I was home for a week at the end of August, I went back out there early September, and I was out there until December 18th.
I'm sorry, August through December 18th?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was like a 6-month process with 2.5 weeks at home.
Fitzy, did you watch any of this? Obviously, yeah. So I didn't know about any of this until after the fact. 'Cause I don't watch. I don't know. I've never watched those shows.
And that's not. They don't really share that in part of the show. A lot of it's pre-taped. It didn't start airing until, I don't remember if it was September, maybe. So I mean.
So did you know like the outcomes before everybody else did, and you're like signing non-disclosure?
For the first 3 rounds, they're all pre-taped, so but you can't share whether you've made it or not. And after that, it was live TV, which is terrifying.
Can't imagine.
Yeah, so this must be like.
I still haven't watched it. I was so nervous to talk. What? Like this right here I would have never done something like this because I didn't know how to like talk and not be in my head and nervous and wonder what people think about.
Yep.
But with that being said, I still haven't watched any of my interviews. I've seen the performances, but I haven't seen any of the interview stuff, anything like that. I'm just terrified to watch it.
Well, and obviously during this, Chris, then you do a special for obviously the Jimmy Claus case is going on, and so the producers out there contacted us, and we worked with you, and you did a special to help us keep the word out there on the Claus case, which was very special, obviously, to the family and to Jamie yourself, and she's your biggest fan, and you know that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, in the middle of that, then you come out and do something for your hometown, and I think that's what's super cool and super special about that. I mean, you got all that stress going on in your life, and you're like, let's stop and do this for my hometown, and we can't thank you enough for that. Keeping the hope alive.
That was so unnerving. I'm sure for everybody. I can't imagine what you were going through during all that. Having that on your shoulders and it's your jurisdiction. I mean, I can't imagine that. But I mean, for me, selfishly, I was like, okay, so my wife and kids are at home. I'm in LA. My wife and kids are at home. We don't know what happened. We don't know who did this. We don't. It's like it was really. That's scary. I'm sure it was the same for everybody, but man.
Right. Yeah. But again, thank you for that and doing all that. And then, I mean, you go on and it was just awesome. It was just fun to see everybody and that's obviously probably the biggest stage you played on, obviously, I would guess.
Oh yeah, by far. Yeah.
Millions of people watching. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I want to quickly kind of wrap that up about The Voice. So you were runner-up, right?
Yeah.
Were you ticked off about that?
No.
Did you think, like, what the frick? Are you kidding me? I totally should have won. Or, like, man, I'm just glad to be here.
The Voice is a crazy thing because it's not, it's not necessarily early on in the process. You have to be able to sing because the coaches are the ones that are choosing whether you make it or not. Once you get, onto the live shows and stuff, it's voting. And so, unfortunately, for some of the people that didn't make it too far, were some of the best singers I've ever heard.
Really?
Yeah, and they just, it's my big benefit in that was that I had I've been playing shows in Wisconsin for 15 years, and so I mean I had a lot of people that were probably felt like invested, like just I don't know. It's like it's a cool thing because there's a lot of people from big cities, a lot of people from like Austin, Texas, New York City, Las Vegas, and people from LA, and it's like you look at these cities like, man, they're gonna smoke me because they got all the these big cities rallied behind them. But the benefit of being from Barron is that if someone gets on The Voice in, let's just say, New York, they're not getting on the news. Like that's not a there's so much going on there that and here it was we could really get it out, and people got really excited about it, which was super cool. I mean, I remember seeing like Romaine Quinn had posted on Facebook of like people had yard signs out with my name on them, and he's like I'm glad I'm not running against this guy.
True statement.
It was mind blowing. Like I had friends and family that would like drive around and take pictures, and they'd send me like a folder on Google Drive of 150 pictures of people with yard signs. It was just like, it's crazy.
Yeah. So at any point when you see that stuff now, when people come up to you and say, "Yo, I'm your biggest fan," does it still impact you, or is it kind of, well, this is just kind of the norm now, or has it never really been normal? Like this is still surreal to me.
Every like on stage especially, it's an adrenaline rush every time, and it just gets more and more fun because now the more I do it, I feel like I'm getting better and better, which I hope is the case.
That's what we try to do here on the show, and come to find out, no, we don't. It just gets worse.
Yeah.
It's a tire fire.
Yeah, no, it's if you stop and think about it, I was played the bars for so many years where I was just kind of, sometimes it was background music, sometimes it was a party, sometimes it was always different, and now it's to have people actually like spend their money to get a ticket, which is it's crazy. It's cool.
Well, I bought your T-shirt and I wore that a couple weeks ago. Went on your
Nice.
website. It was in the wash, otherwise I was going to wear it this morning. So you used to do 250 shows, then The Voice, and that huge moment in your life. You get back. Then what do you do? And also, how many shows do you do now a year? If you could, obviously COVID being what it is, how busy are you now?
Now, I mean, busy, which is great. There's just it's different now. I think I'm just as busy as I was, but I get to spend a little more time recording and writing songs and working on the craft rather than when I was playing in the bars all the time. It's really hard to make any headway because you're doing what you're good at every night. Mm-hmm. You're not really changing much because it's just show after show after show, so you're doing the same thing. Sure. And so now, I've got the time in between to grow and try new things. And, it's just a different kind of busy. It's like The Voice it's a big commercial. So, I mean, if you get off of there and think you're going to be able to relax, you're wrong because it's time to work. If you thought you were working before, now it's time to go because you've got that. I mean, the limelight from that is so short lived. They do 2 seasons a year. So, I mean, by the time we were done, I got second place in December. There's another season going at like March, So, I mean, it's.
Yeah, we've actually brought that up in terms of people running for office. Sometimes when they run for an office, and I know this is politics here, but it just reminded me of that a lot of times I think they put so much energy into trying to win an election, whatever that election is, could be like a sheriff. Then, they get the job. And they feel like, okay, now I can coast. Actually now is when the work starts. Getting there was the first step, but now, what are you going to do with it? So on that note, I have a question here. So I went to your website, Cruisey right, .com.
Yep.
And there's CDs and digital stuff to download. Is this one of those, man, I really wish I would have been, 30 years ago, been in this spot? Is the digital world helping? Is it really make sense to release full CDs anymore? Or is it better to do like, okay, every couple of months I just want to release like one song and make that a digital download? How does that work?
There's really no perfect answer for that. I mean, 30 years ago, people made their money selling CDs, Now the downside of the digital stuff now is that, you don't sell as many physical copies. You don't get the revenue on it. The streaming companies make a lot of the money, but at the same time, it's never been easier to get your music out to a lot of people because, it can share so fast online. And, now music is basically like a really fancy and expensive business card at this point to get people to come out to your shows.
What do you mean?
I look at it that way because if I put a song on Spotify, realistically, I could get 250,000 streams on Spotify. You're not making any money on that.
Oh.
It's pennies. And, but the benefit of that is people, if it gets on a playlist or something on Spotify, or like with just like radio, Wax out of Eau Claire plays my stuff all the time, which is awesome. And, you don't make money from that, but you do in the long run because you could sell tickets from that.
I see.
Somebody books you for a show or a party or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and if they, you're driving around Eau Claire, a lot of people listen to Wax. I mean, if they've heard your songs on radio, it's gonna, maybe they'll come and see you live.
So outside of Barron County, like when you go to Eau Claire, you obviously have a unique look. When you go somewhere, do you get people who, again, not just Barron County, but a little further away, where people recognize you?
Yeah, I'd almost say it's more.
Really?
Like in a little bit farther away.
Interesting.
It's not like overwhelming, or it's just, if I go to Shields or something, yeah, there's always someone, but which is fine. But like in Barron, it's just, I know I'm born and raised here. Like my great grandparents are from here, so it's just like, for most of people around here, I've known them for a long time.
Yeah, and that was one of the first things that I found so fascinating about you. We talked about a month ago on the phone, and I just asked, where are you right now? And you're like, I'm in Barron at my house. I'm like, what? Barron, dude, you're like, I don't know, you're Chris Cruisey, man. You should be living in, I don't know, Nashville or L.A. and I was being serious. Like, what are you doing still in Barron County? You got Sheriff Fitzgerald as your sheriff. I mean, go somewhere else. And you're like, yeah, no. So tell me why you still stay in Barron County.
There's multiple reasons. One, it's home. I mean, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
Financially, it's a lot more affordable to live here than it is in LA or Nashville.
Right.
Yeah. And with kids, I want to raise my kids here. I love hunting and fishing, and I mean, we go four-wheeling, and it's, I don't know really anywhere else where we could do all that. And then, my wife's mom, so our kids, one grandma is a mile south of us. My parents are about 8 miles away. My brother lives 4 miles north of me. My grandparents live right in town.
Family.
Yeah, family's huge. So
yeah, and I follow you on Facebook. I think most people do. And you put a lot of things up about your kids. Clearly, I mean, if they follow you on Facebook, there's two things that people will know: you love music, and you love your kids and your family.
Yeah,
I would move to L.A., but whatever.
See, but the nice thing is like Nashville, where I go quite a bit. It's an hour and a half flight. It's
what?
And it's
It's not very far away.
I didn't realize. Oh, Fitzy. Come on, Ben. It's not that very far away. You didn't know that.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half flight out of Minneapolis. So I mean,
I didn't know that.
It's not that bad of a trip, and it's honestly probably cheaper to fly there than it is to drive there, especially now.
Yeah.
So what do you do when you go to Nashville, Chris? What do you go there for? To play shows or to cut songs or what?
Cut songs. Listen to you, Fitzy.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm probably his agent. When I get done with this, he'll probably sign me.
Yep. All of the above. I was down there all last week writing songs with a bunch of people, and then we played what's called a songwriters round. And so there'd be 3 songwriters on stage sitting on stools side by side, and you each take turns playing songs that you wrote and kind of tell the story of them. What? It's really fun. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we wrote a few songs last week down there with some other people, and I went down there with my my friend Natalie Murphy. I'm sure you've seen her. She played fiddle with me a lot. Yeah. And her and her husband live in Nashville, and they always invite me, let me crash at their place, which is awesome.
Nice.
And they're just so well connected down there. They can, get they know people that we'd want to write with, and good songwriters, and it's a lot of fun.
You do a lot of things for the troops, the sporting troops.
Yeah.
It'd be easy just to ask, why, but I probably should preface that with, I mean, duh, for troops. However, not everybody does, and that's perfectly fine. People have their own thing. What is it about troops that you're like, yeah, I'm totally down, and I will absolutely play for troops? Here, I think you've even been overseas, if I've seen correctly. What was that from? Why do you have such a passion about that?
Honestly, so I had some friends also from Barron County that had a band when I was younger, and like I grew up watching them at Farm and Feather Fest, and all these different local festivals, Camarama Days, Chautauqua Liberty Days, all this stuff. And when I was in high school, they started going overseas and playing like similar to USO tours, but not through the USO company. And I mean, I was like seeing pictures and videos of it, and I'm like, that looks so cool. And like those crowds are like the most responsive and into it crowds you'll ever get, because they don't get entertainment like that very much.
Sure.
And then, I mean, just growing up with, respect for military. My dad was an MP, so.
Oh, sure. So there's a connection there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was kind of always a thing. And I got the opportunity to do it, and I said yes, which terrified me because I'd never been on an airplane before.
How old were you at this point?
I was probably 23, 24.
And so not only on an airplane, was this an overseas one, or is it in America?
No, this is overseas. My first flight was to Doha, Qatar. It was like 16 hours.
Wait, where is it? Where'd you go?
Doha, right in the Persian Gulf.
Qatar, you said? That's not a country.
Yeah, it is.
You just made that up.
No, I don't say it right. I think it's like Qatar. They say it. It's Qatar.
Never heard of it.
Yep.
So what was that experience like?
It's awesome. Super fun. I mean, I ran into we went to a couple different countries over there, and I ran into people from I ran into a guy from Barron of all things. Yeah, and I didn't really know him. He was way younger than me. He was, I think, 18 or 19 years old on his first deployment, and he was from Barron. And then I ran into a guy from Janesville, Wisconsin. So my dad's name is Todd Cruisey, and Cruisey's not that common of a last name. And so after our show, this guy came up to me, and he introduced himself. His name was Todd Cruisey from Janesville, Wisconsin. And I'm like, what?
No, you're not. I know Todd Cruisey. You're not him.
Yeah. So he gave me like his little Velcro name patch off of his uniform, which was really cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool with your dad's name.
So I've got a Cruisey one, which is sweet. Yeah.
If you ever had an opportunity to do perform at a show, you found out what it was, and you're like, yeah, no way, I'm not doing that show. Have you ever had one of those? Like, is with a venue or whatever that would be called, who'd be performing for that? It's nope, or is it, man, you pay me, I'll go?
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, I don't. There's not much that I won't do, if it's paid. I've played on awesome, huge stages at festivals with the best sound equipment in the world, and I've played on literally slabs of plywood at the bottom of a hill with gnats and mosquitoes everywhere and crappy speakers.
That's awesome.
It doesn't. Yeah, I'll kind of.
Which do you prefer? If you had to, and let's just assume for a moment that it was the same pay, performing in the big, what are those called, auditorium or stages or something, for 2, 5, 10, 20,000 people, or 100 or less in a local place. Which would you prefer? Which do you like doing most? It's
hard to compare. They're so different.
Sure.
You do like a big show at like a big theater or something. It's a completely different show than what it's going to be if we're in a room with 150 people in a bar or something. They're both really fun in different ways.
Mm.
So where do we see Chris Cruisey this summer? Where can we?
Yeah, what's next for you?
Local shows?
I mean, we're doing. Well, I'd have to look at my schedule to see for sure, but we'll definitely be around. Definitely doing like Country Jam again. There's going to be a bunch of stuff around that we're going to do. Yeah.
Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah.
So Fitzy and I have kind of jokingly said in the last few shows, and since he hasn't brought it up, I will. So this is kind of half joking. Unless you're totally down, then we mean this seriously. We have our little intro song thing. What would it take for us to get like a couple of minute thing, recording, so we can start using that for our intro instead of our regular that thing? What would it take?
You just need to tell me what you want.
Oh boy, that's tough.
Like, are
Just
you
make
looking
us
for
look
just
good.
like an instrumental kind of thing?
I think maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't really.
yeah.
I honestly didn't think we'd get this far, so I haven't thought about it.
We thought you shut us down right away.
Right away, yeah.
We'll figure something out.
All right, cool. Fitzy, do you have any more? I don't know, anything more questions or anything for Chris? And also, Cruisey, do you have anything that you want to say that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet?
I will shamelessly plug that.
Yes.
I've been writing songs and gonna have a bunch of new music. And
When does that come out?
well, definitely a single is gonna come out this spring.
Okay.
And really excited about that. I actually recorded it like a year and a half ago and just been waiting to release it.
Really?
So that one's ready to go. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be good. And then I'm going to try and get back into the studio here. I don't know if I'm going to get to the studio this winter, this spring, or maybe it might be fall yet. But yeah, I wrote some songs last week that I'm really excited about. Got to write a song with a guy named Phil Vassar, which is super cool. I don't know if you know Phil
I don't
Vassar.
know who that is. Fitzy just said, "Yep," like he knows,
Well,
but
I
he's like
saw
my
that
dad.
on
He think, whatever. I don't think he knows who he is.
I don't really know who he is, but I
Look him
saw
up.
that you wrote a song with him.
Yeah.
You're like, "Yep."
Well, that's a big deal for me. 'Cause Phil's written 22 number one songs.
Holy cow!
Yeah,
Wow.
super big. A lot of the like Jody Messina hits and stuff from the 90s. You're not a country fan, I can tell.
No, and I'm not really up on. I'm not really on top of my. I don't know the music industry right now at all. So I'm not really a good reference for that. I don't even have a radio. But I have listened to all your stuff, which wasn't until in the last 2 weeks. I've listened to every song. But before that, I didn't even hear any of your songs. And my kids even like your stuff. So yeah, we digitally downloaded because that's easier for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So real quick, who is your when you write these? Excuse me. All right, so I really don't have like any creativity whatsoever, and I think Fitzy doesn't either. So, well, maybe he does, but in his own way, I guess. But obviously not this. How long does it take you to write a song? Is it something that you're just walking around and you're in your car and you go, I got an idea? Or do you have to like force yourself, all right, come on, Cruisey, you can write this. Start
All of
it.
the above.
Really?
All of the it just depends. Some are super quick and they just kind of happen. And some are you have an idea and you can't figure out how to write it, and sometimes you find an angle that's gonna work, and it's always different. Sometimes it starts with a line, like a phrase or something that you think is cool, and sometimes it starts with a guitar riff or something.
Really? So you can just like when you do those guitar riffs, which I have no idea what that means, but whenever you just do something and you're like, ooh, I got an idea for a song, and then you just kind of it's not the lyrics, it's sometimes the music first.
Well, sometimes the music. I mean, you can come up with a part on a guitar and record it and put other parts with it.
What is a riff?
Like a guitar lick. Does that make sense?
No, that doesn't help me at all. What's a guitar?
I know what that is.
A lick? That's not a thing.
All
I think
right,
you guys are
here we
punking me right now.
A lick
Yeah.
would be like.
That's it?
I mean, no,
Oh, okay.
no. So like this would be a lick, like.
Oh. That's awesome.
Like that's a lick, but they could be anything. I mean, also like. That's a lick. So they.
Okay, what's the difference between a lick and a riff?
Nothing. I don't know. It's weird terminology.
It's just weird. Okay.
In a perfect world, we would just call it a guitar part because that's really what it is.
Oh, sure. So sometimes you'll just start playing something and go, I think I got an idea.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
nuts.
Sometimes that happens. Yep.
That's absolutely nuts. All right. So what is next? Do you have a show? What is your next show?
Let me look. I don't know.
Yes, the 25th.
Look. I've got a private show at Turtleback in Rice Lake next week.
Oh, nice. How does somebody book you? How does somebody book you if they want to have you come and I don't know, sing at a private show or their company or whatever it is? How does somebody do that?
It's go to the website, chriscruisymusic.com, and then there's like an email booking link on there.
Sweet. We should totally do that, Fitzy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should book him. Yeah.
For something. I don't know. We'll come up with something.
We'll have a party.
That'd be great.
He's always up for a party.
Yeah.
And Chris, I just want to thank you for the support you give law enforcement, Boys and Girls Club, all of our local things. You've always been part of that. Help us raise money. That's what's special about you from a local person here is that you do a lot for the local people of Barron County and the local kids, and you want us to all succeed. And I just can't thank you enough for all of that. So it's pretty special for all of us, and just thank you. And you probably don't get that a lot, and we just want to thank you for all you do.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you so much for coming on. It took us a while to get you on because you're very busy. I gave you like a whole bunch of dates. Like, well, no, I got something this week and this. No, I'll be in Nashville for this. I got a show here. So, yeah, the fact you taking an hour out of your day to come on, man, seriously, you're obviously welcome back anytime you want. This was awesome. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know when that single's ready to come out. We'll come on and talk about that.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
All right, can you take us out with a song, Chris? That'd be great.
Yeah, we could do that.
Awesome. I knew that's what everybody's waiting for.
No pressure or anything.
Like a song?
Oh, just whatever.
Sure.
Or just
whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
How about, let's just play some guitar. How about that?
Right.
It's early. It's too early for singing,
Sounds good.
That's awesome. You've been watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. Like Fitzy and I, Professional Exteriors and Interiors believes that it's the little things that make a big difference. With nearly 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business provides quality work both on the inside and the outsides of your home or business. For more information, give Brian a call at the number that's on your screen, 520-2271. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden saying thank you once again to our guest Chris Cruisey for joining us today, and thank you all for your comments. We'll see you right back here next week. Fitzy is off, so Spooner Health CEO Mike Schaefer will be filling in for Fitzy. Until then, remember, it's the little things that make a big difference. Thank you for watching, and have a blessed day.